Welcome to the Young Professional Survival Guide, part of the Awakening Performance Audio Lab. Today, I'm talking about one of the quietest ways young professionals can lose confidence, and that's through constant comparison. Let's get into it. This isn't just comparing yourself to influencers online or people posting polished career updates. It's also measuring your performance against your peers. You look at the coworkers who speaks confidently in meetings and think to yourself, I wish I could do that. You see the colleague who seems to get promoted faster and you wonder if you need to be doing what they're doing. You go out with a friend who appears more financially successful, or you see a social media post from the person your age who somehow already seems ahead in life. If I'm being honest, this is something that I struggled with for years. I grew up with very little. There was no college fund, no carefully planned roadmap, and no mentor teaching me how to navigate opportunities. I never had the chance to sit down with a school counselor who explained scholarships or showed me what was possible. Looking back, there's a very real chance I could have earned a full ride scholarship somewhere, but nobody around me knew how to guide that process. So early on, I already felt behind. I didn't think I went to the right school. I worked my way through college, so I didn't have time or feel like I belong with the cool kids. I constantly measured myself against people who looked more connected, more polished, or more prepared than I felt. Unfortunately, that mindset followed me directly into my career. I compared myself to people who seemed more articulate, co coworkers who looked polished and effortless in leadership settings. There were people around me getting recognized faster, people who appeared more confident than I felt internally. What I didn't realize at the time is that comparison creates a dangerous cognitive pattern. It activates inadequacy. It creates future anxiety and quietly convinces you that your timeline is wrong simply because it looks different than someone else's. Today, I see this pressure amplified even more for young professionals. You're dealing not only just with social comparisons, but now amplify that times 1,000 with professional comparison. Inside the organization that you join, you might find yourself intimidated by peers who are older, more experienced, or further along in their careers. Now, to be fair, experience absolutely matters in some situations. People have been in their role longer than you have put in the reps, have context, and take more swings. But there's something important I learned over time. More years doesn't automatically equal better thinking. Sometimes experience creates wisdom, but other times it creates habits and fixed thinking. Some professionals continue to evolve while others simply just repeat the same patterns for years without ever questioning them. This is where you, as a young professional, may underestimate yourself. A fresh perspective matters. It could be you noticing inefficiencies others stopped seeing years ago, or you might ask questions others stopped asking, or you simply just challenge an assumption because you haven't yet been conditioned to accept this is the way we've always done it. And that perspective can be incredibly valuable. The problem when you compare yourself to your peers, it often causes people to suppress thinking before they ever voice it. You might find yourself hesitating before speaking, thinking to yourself, what if this sounds stupid? You might over edit your ideas and say something like, I don't know, maybe this is a dumb idea. You assume someone else's perspective is automatically better thinking, and you think to yourself, I'd better defer to them. They've been here longer than me. You shrink your own voice before anyone else even evaluates it. That's what professional comparison does. It fragments your focus and weakens your confidence. Instead of building your own capabilities, you become consumed with measuring yourself against everyone around you. Social media only intensifies the cycle. You see the promotions and success without the context or the sacrifice. No one is projecting the insecurity they felt or the years of uncertainty that came before the achievements. What you see are snapshots, not the full realities. You don't see the pressure, anxiety, burnout, debt, or self doubt behind the carefully curated confidence. Everyone around you is carrying something you just can't see. That's why comparison is such a dangerous distraction. It pulls your attention to others when your growth is requiring attention inward. Professionals who build sustainable careers aren't obsessing over everyone else's timeline or journey. They're focusing on their own skills development that are most valuable, like clear thinking, adaptability, emotional regulation, self awareness, consistency, and the ability to keep learning under pressure. Your career isn't a race against your peers. It's the process of being capable of handling bigger opportunities or responsibility when they arrive, and that takes time. It takes curiosity, willingness to make mistakes, embracing awkward learning curves, putting in the reps with a heavy dose of humility, and the willingness to keep growing without abandoning yourself in the process. So, here are some of the healthiest things that you can do for your career. First, stop treating someone else's visible success as evidence that you are failing. Their success isn't reducing your potential. Secondly, learn how to gracefully push back against the status quo. It's not arrogance, it's curiosity. Some of the most valuable contributions you will make in your career may come from respectfully questioning assumptions others stopped noticing long ago. The key is learning how to do it thoughtfully, not from ego or to prove something wrong or someone wrong, but to improve the outcome. Organizations need both experience and fresh thinking to evolve. If comparison has been interrupting your focus lately, here's where I want you to pause for a quick reflection. Ask yourself, where in my life am I comparing my beginning to someone else's middle? Number two, have I been dismissing my own perspective simply because someone else has more experience? Number three, what ideas, questions, or observations have I been holding back out of fear of sounding inexperienced? And number four, what would I change if I focused more on building my own path instead of measuring myself against everyone around me? Number four, what would change if I focused more on building my own path instead of measuring myself against everyone around me? Awareness is important because comparison often operates quietly in the background in your subconscious. The moment you notice it and name it, you create the opportunity to stop letting it control your confidence, your focus, and your decisions. Comparison will always tempt you to believe you're behind, but most of the time, that's just a story you tell yourself. Just remember, you're in the middle of your own growth process. Don't lose yourself trying to become a copy of the people around you or chasing someone else's definition of success. Focus on building a career and life that is aligned with who you are and who you want to become. Thanks for listening to the Young Professionals Survival Guide, part of the Awakening Performance Audio Lab. If this episode resonated with you, follow the show and share it with another young professional who might need this reminder today.